Hey y'all, Tanny Cooks here, and today I'm going to show you how to make some delicious neck bones. Yes, these are pork neck bones. I have about 8 pounds here in this bowl of regular pork neck bones, and we're going to season them up so they taste like something spectacular, adding some aromatics like onions, garlic, bay leaf, bell peppers. We're using smoked neck bones in that package, as well as 8 pounds of regular pork neck bones. And this is going to be so delicious, and it's going to taste extremely elevated. So let's get to cooking. To start, I'm going to wash off my bell peppers. I have an assortment of colors of bell peppers, and I'm going to wash them with white vinegar and water, and I'm using a veggie brush to rub them off in case there's any kind of wax on them. These are what my neck bones look like. I have a total of 8 pounds. So I have 1 pack of smoked, and then the rest of the packs are regular neck bones. Smoked neck bones have more sodium in them, but they also have more flavor. So I'm washing them off all together, again with water and white vinegar. This washing off stage is very important because I'm going to use this time to inspect each piece of meat and rub off any gritty bits or extra pieces that I know I don't want to cook with my food that I'm going to eat. So as I do this, you can see the color difference in the neck bones that are smoked, like this one, versus the ones that are not smoked and are just regular pork neck bones. If you only have regular pork neck bones, you can buy a piece of smoked ham hock or smoked pigtail to use in it for flavor, or you can just leave the smoked meat out altogether. As you can see, I use 2 bowls. On the right hand side is a bowl of water and vinegar that I use to clean my meat in the running water. And then I rinse it off and let it sit in my colander in the left side of my sink. So here I am just picking through the fatty pieces that I actually cut off my pork neck bones. So I don't sear my pork neck bones or cook them first before I boil them on the stovetop, because I pull off or cut off any fatty pieces at this stage like you see me doing here. And I'll use a knife, or you can use kitchen shears or cooking shears to get those fatty bits off. The scissors are so much safer because if you slip, you won't cut yourself like you would with a knife. But look at, while we clean this, look at how this water looks after cleaning off the neck bones. And then this is the clean meat. A lot of meat for not a high price. So this is one of the benefits of cooking this for your family. So our clean meat is in a huge bowl. I'm just going to set that to a side while I show you the seasonings we're going to use. I'm going to use smoked paprika, black pepper, granulated garlic, granulated onion, and thyme leaves. And the seasonings you use really is up to you. Now, I do have the option to use poultry seasoning, which I use in all kind of meat. This contains thyme, sage, marjoram, rosemary, black pepper, and nutmeg. It is completely vegan, but it's a common spice used on poultry, obviously. The other option I'm considering is using oxtail seasoning. This Blue Mountain Country oxtail seasoning contains sea salt, red pepper, thyme, celery seed, allspice, paprika, garlic, onion, and sugar. It's commonly used on beef, and I decided I want to go for that flavor on these pork neck bones. So I'm adding all of my seasonings, but I'm not using poultry seasoning. I'm going to use oxtail seasoning. I did add in some liquid smoke. Liquid smoke adds a nice smoky flavor when you're not actually grilling on charcoal. So I just went ahead and I used a gloved hand to incorporate all of my seasonings into each piece of meat. So I'm making sure each piece of meat is covered with seasonings on both sides. And look at that. Look at how beautiful that piece of meat looks. Pork neck bones are very inexpensive, so this is a pleasure to cook. I chopped up my aromatics, so I chopped up my onions and multicolors of bell peppers. I also had a couple of cloves of fresh garlic, and I added some dried bay leaves. So what I have is a pot with not a lot of water actually. So I just have maybe a couple of inches of water. And then I'm going to add my seasoned meat, my bay leaves, and some of my aromatics. So I'm only adding half of my meat and half of my aromatics because the meat, I had so much in this one bowl that all of the seasoning didn't get all the way through from the top to the bottom. So I just seasoned the top half, added it to the water, and then while that's going for a few minutes, I'm just making sure the other half of my meat is well seasoned, and then I add that to the whole pot. And y'all, look at how delicious this looks before it even starts cooking all the way. So delicious, and it smells so wonderful. So I added half of my aromatics in the middle, and now I'm adding the other half of my aromatics on top. Aromatics being my bell peppers, my onions, my garlic, my bay leaf. Things that add aroma and flavor to our meat. So I let that cook for about 45 minutes to an hour, and look at how it looks. You can see the pieces on top got darker because they weren't submerged in water. And so I'm just turning them over, and then I added some more aromatics on top. So these are the aromatics I left to the side, so I didn't add them all because I like to add them at different points in the cooking process so that the ones added to the pot have a different texture. Some are well cooked, some are slightly cooked, and some are barely cooked by the time a person eats this. So that's my personal preference. You can of course do what you like to do. So after about 3 hours, y'all, look at this. It's almost falling off the bone, but not quite. So I'll let it go a little bit longer. For you, it's going to take however long it takes. So depending on how long you have it simmering versus boiling will impact how long it takes for yours to get fall off the bone tender. For me, I cooked mine about 4 hours and then I took it out of the pot. I usually let mine come to a boil and then simmer, but then I might turn it up a little bit, then down a little bit. So just make sure your meat is fall off the bone tender and that you're paying close attention to your stove the whole time that it's cooking. So you don't want to have this on your stove cooking while you leave your home, for instance. So I am using a slotted spoon to pull out my meat into a side pan, and I am plucking out any dried bay leaves that I see as I pull it out because the bay leaves are dry. So they are a little bit crunchy or a different texture when you chew on them, and most people don't like them, so I take them out when I see them. You can see there, I'm pulling these bones right off the meat. It's just that simple. This is so delicious. If you like oxtails, if you like beef stew, and you also eat pork, then I think pork neck bones is a meat you would enjoy because while there is a big bone in it, it is very meaty. It's a lot of meat on it, and your pork neck bones, depending upon how much you have, if you have less than I have, then it might take you less time to cook it. But I cooked mine for about 4 hours because I had 8 pounds of regular neck bones, pork neck bones, and 2 pounds of smoked neck bones for a total of 10 pounds of meat in the one pot. If you have less meat, then yours might just cook in 2 to 3 hours instead. So I have my 10 pounds of neck bones in my side dish, and you can see the broth that's left over. Now, I'm not a person that likes a lot of gravy. I like au jus sauce when I make my pot roast or beef stew, and so I like a similar light sauce when I eat my pork as well. So I'm not going to make gravy. I'm just going to discard those bones, and then I'm going to spoon out some of this sauce into a separate container, so when I'm ready to serve my pork neck bones, I'll just drizzle some of my then sauce over the meat to keep it moisturized and juicy. This is so delicious, y'all, and so fragrant. So if you like pork, you will definitely enjoy this dish, I am sure. So with this, I also cooked a good portion of rice in my rice cooker. This rice is nice and fluffy. You can see how each piece is separated individually, so it is not gooey or clumpy. I love my aroma rice cooker for this. I think I bought this at Walmart years ago. So I just spooned my neck bones over my rice to make a very delicious dish that my family enjoyed. And y'all, look at how beautiful that meat is. Thank you so much for watching my video. Please check out my playlist to see the other soul food recipes I like to cook and my methods for cooking them, and subscribe to my channel.